All right, we're back to try to figure out how to use React Router some more. Let's see how this goes. I'm hoping better than it last night. I feel like last night was a big learning curve. So what did we do? So last night, what we did was we got basically we got the ability to add books and then view a book. So you go to books add and add to what's a good book and search for meaning by Viktor Frankl. I think that's how you spell it. Viktor Frankl. It just doesn't have any Victor man, and it's just man's. Search for meaning, and then Viktor Frankl, and then we can add that, and then we get redirected to the book page, and we can see the details of our book. So that's basically everything we did yesterday. Hello, Indie Motor Fun. You are the first, so nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so since we have this functionality working, I think the next thing we need to do is we should have a page where we can see all of our books, right? So let's do a books.txx page. And that is going to have a very similar sort of implementation. Only here um, it's not going to be this. It's going to be find all, right? And so this is going to be books, books. We'll say books.map, and for each book, map over it, build ourselves an object. That. Book. I think I don't care if this hold on, do I care if this is null? This is never gonna be null. Why is this angry? Argument expression expected? Oh, okay. So then we should have books here. This instead of we're gonna end up with a books file here, but we need to build it first. Oops. Run dev. Taking a minute. Indie Motor Fun currently making a Scratch project for making scrambled text that can still be easily read due to the way the brain works. Making scrambled text readable sounds like an oxymoron. It sounds like a contradiction. All right, and then we need to do a map here too. So let's say books map. will have a similar bit of code. Let's see. It's been a while since I've done anything in React, so how do I map over array in React? I know that's so basic, but 443 owie, what bro doing? Well, when I say you can type that, I literally mean you can do hold on, did I not spell that right? Oh no, you can literally type what bro doing and it'll print a message. Nightbot will give you a heads up on what's happening. Doing that right? I think I'm doing that right. Oh, there's got to be a top level element, doesn't there? Why are you complaining? B implicitly has type any. Why is that the case? Types. I feel like there should be a new generated type in there. Oh, it's probably because I haven't added that to the routes file. Routes. I guess maybe I should have called this index. Yeah, just the type. So this is something that's interesting about React routers, the fact that they generate all these route params. They dynamically create the types for each one of your route modules, which is kind of interesting. We're not using this guy. That. And we should be able to now see a list of books, right? So let's go to, there we go. There's our 2 books. Then if we add a new one, what's another good book? Love Does. Love Does by Bob Goff. You should read that one. There we go. If I go back to books, looky there. I mean, my styling is awful. I'm fully aware my styling's awful, but it's styled. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty compelling way to build. I think this is a very compelling way to build apps very quickly. I don't know if this is necessarily the most compelling way to build large, complex, scalable applications with like multiple developers, but I can definitely see how, like, if you're an indie dev or you're a solo dev and you just want to sit down, you want to prototype something, you want to get something working, like, this is pretty speedy, right? Like, you don't need to deal with a separate front end and a separate back end. You don't need to set up a REST API endpoint and then have a front end service that calls the API endpoint, right? I can definitely see why people get excited about building apps this way. Cookie Man, what app is that? How are you coding? JavaScript. So I'm writing JavaScript. This is I am in NeoVim. So if you ever heard of NeoVim, that's what I'm using. And I'm in PowerShell. PowerShell is my shell of choice. Hey, what's up, Let's Hack Short? It has been a long time. Where have you been? Been doing well? Just busy, I'm guessing. Casey Thomas, Visual Studios, y'all. What do you mean? You mean like you like Visual Studio? Because I like Visual Studio. Casey Thomas. Got some Darth Vader on your channel. Nice. Okay, I use Visual Studio. Do you use Visual Studio or do you use Visual Studio Code? Because those are two different products. Do you use the purple app, Visual Studio, or do you use the blue app? Casey Thomas, I thought that's what it was. A lot of people refer to Visual Studio Code as Visual Studio, but Visual Studio Code and Visual Studio are different products. Cookie Man, but how is it Microsoft? I forgot the logo looks like a executor. What logo are you talking about? This one up here? That's PowerShell. You're talking about that. That's PowerShell's logo. Casey Thompson, depends on what I'm doing. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I know a lot of people use Visual Studio who aren't necessarily C# devs, but most people who use Visual Studio are C# devs. That's why I asked. Let's hack short. Yeah, I was make LLM bot using TypeScript. Oh, very cool. I bet that was fun. Large language model. Bot. I'm guessing that's a bot that talks to a large language model or something of the sort. I'm assuming you didn't like try to build your own transformer. Let's hack short. Is that an AI? Is that any AI SDK like Vercel but in Golang? I honestly don't know if there's an AI SDK like Vercel offers in Golang. I'm sure there's some sort of library that probably lets you do AI stuff. I'm not very familiar with Vercel's AI SDK either. What's up, Pablo? How are you? I didn't know you were trying React Router 7. This is my cup of tea. Oh, very cool. Yeah, we read through the docs. I think it was Sunday night, something like that. Sunday night, we read through the docs, and then last night or the night before, we started actually trying to build a little app with it. So far, it's pretty. I can definitely see the appeal of being able to build apps like this, right? Where you're just, you know, you don't have a separate API endpoint. You know, you're just doing server-side rendering. You can talk to your database. I can see why if you come from the land of the spa and you've never done server-side rendering, you're like, oh yeah, give it to me. You know, give me all the server-side rendering. Pablo, framework mode, right? Yes, we are using framework mode. We read through their docs and like read about the different types of modes they offer, and basically the recommendation was like if you're doing something greenfield, you should probably just use framework mode. So that's what we did. San. Hey, what's up? Hello, San. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. It's not a your name problem. It's a Steven can't speak properly problem. Cookie Man, Steven, I coded one of those mob control games on Apple by using JavaScript. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, like Pablo said, if you want to join our Discord, you're welcome to hop into our Discord, and we have a coding channel in there. You're welcome to share your wares there. I think people always get a good kick out of seeing what other people are building. All right, so we have the kind of the initial set of functionality for our CRUD, right? We can add a book, we can look at one book, we can look at many books. So now we just need we need an edit and we need a delete. We need an update and a delete functionality. Pablo, at some point during the development of your project, set up React compiler and don't call memo/use memo/use callback ever again. I don't think I've actually used the React compiler. I remember watching the React conf where it was presented. I think it was presented at a React comp at some point. But I've never actually used it. But then again, I haven't written React in like a year and a half. It's been a while. It is kind of funny how isn't it funny how everybody ends up kind of back at the same solutions to old problems, right? Where it's kind of we have performance problems in React because we have certain things that are bad patterns, and it's like, oh well, how do we fix that? Oh well, let's add a compiler step, right? Pablo, fairly easy to set up with Vite. Okay, very cool. Yeah, for sure. We can definitely explore that. Cookie Man, what app are you making? By the way, I can't get Discord. I ain't 13 plus. Oh, sorry, Cookie Man. That's too bad. What app am I making? So the app that we're making is basically just a simple CRUD app. And the CRUD app is going to let us track the books that we've read, the books that we want to read, or the books that we are reading. And I don't know how far I'll take that. I'm not doing this. I'm not building this for it to be like a fully flush project that I deploy and publish. It's probably not even going to have authentication. I just kind of want to, after reading the React Router docs, I just kind of want to put my hands on it so I can better understand the patterns that people use when they're using React Router and how they approach things. Because it's definitely different than how you do things in Next.js just right off the bat. The concepts, right, are the same, but the patterns, the way you do things in React Router v7 is not exactly how you do them in Next.js. Thakur G. Hi, you are great. Greetings from India. Well, Thakur, I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. How are things in India? We've had quite a few people from India hang out here. Pablo, by the way, is add a different page or an action you call book/add? No, this is a different page. So we have a form on this page that we actually have a legit form with inputs and stuff where we add the book, and then we have a separate book page that just it's basically like a read-only view at this point. Which I'm guessing where you're going is I could probably consolidate this all to a single a single view, right? Read, add, edit could probably all be single views. Which I was reading about that a little bit, about how people do you can only have one exported action from a route module, but people put different intents. They put hidden fields with intents like an intents field on it, and then they check to see if the intent is add, edit, or delete, which I thought was kind of interesting. And is books / books your index? Yes, it should be. It should be my index. Yeah, that's probably a better name for it, actually. That's what I would have called it if I was in ASP.NET. I would have called it index. And then this is probably needs to be changed. Index. And we can call this index. Yeah, this is everything I have so far. We've done very little. Pablo, yeah, underscore intent is great. Okay, that's a very interesting pattern, because I was kind of wondering, like, if you did want to have a single view, right? I mean, I was thinking just like if you want to have, like, for example, the thing I was thinking about, like, if you have one route that's like books 1, and you wanted to both edit from this page, like you wanted to both edit from this route and you wanted to delete from this route, but with different methods, I was like, well, how would you, like, if I wanted to make a delete request to this endpoint, and so then I was Googling, and I found a little pattern. But also, instead of redirect not found, you can throw a 404 and create a 404 error boundary. Oh, okay. How do I throw? Oh, so you're saying instead of this, to throw to, what is it? Throw, I guess, data is what I want to throw. Throw data. This comes from book not found. Then I set the status here. And I actually think this will work out of the box, because the very top level boundary that they have set up in this template, I think, handles this. Yeah, they specifically check to see if it's a 404. But yeah, I guess, like you said, I could create a dedicated. Nice. It would be good if I could how would I access the air dot data dot air dot data? Is that where my message shows up? Not found. I guess I could do I know you're not supposed to do nested ternaries, but I'm going to do it here for a second. No, I'll just do air.data. That. There you go. Book not found. Very cool. occur in India? There's job saturation for freshers. Occur, are you saying that like people that are new to development, it's hard for them to break in? Because I think that's not just a problem in India. I think that's a problem everywhere at the moment right now. Pablo, you start adding underscore intent when you have different actions. But if you want delete, you can use the delete HTTP method and edit with put, for example. You can make a switch on your action for each type. Pablo, you can customize the error boundary. Nice. It's React after all. Yep, good point. Gijit, what's this app for? It's basically just a way for me to learn React Router, but the domain of the app is just like basically like a tracker for your book, right? It's just like a basic CRUD app. Like think of like your basic to-do app, but instead of putting to-dos in here, we're putting books in the database. So I think, Pablo, what you were saying about the different methods, I think, just so that because that was kind of my idea, and so I just make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying like in my loader, or not, I guess it wouldn't be my loader, but you're saying here I could do export function, and then you were saying, I think, export function action, and then I have args, and those are going to be route.action args, like this. And so I think what you were saying is then you could say I could switch off of args.request.method. That's what you're saying, I think, right? So I could, in here, I could say case delete. And then do something here. And then maybe case put, like you said. Do something. And then your default could just be, I guess, nothing. I don't know what do nothing. I think that's what you were saying, right? Yep, that's okay. Okay, yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I like that better than the intents approach, honestly. That to me seems a little cleaner. But I guess if you have more things you need to do on a particular view that don't fit into the whole like delete put patch verbiage, then the intents thing might be where you have to go with it. That makes sense. You err with invalid requests. Okay, if it doesn't match anything. What about, Pablo, could I ask, what about, okay, like, what if you wanted to do, I haven't tried this yet, but this is just my understanding. So, like, if I wanted to create a route that was, let me make this a little, can I make this bigger? Oh, no, I can't make this bigger. But let's say I wanted to create a route that was more like what if it was like this? It was like books 1 delete, right? So I have like a whole separate route. Can I have a route in here that just is an action or just is a loader? Right? It doesn't return any JSX. Is that okay to do? Although, but sometimes you have to edit title, an edit title action, edit. Okay, yep, that makes sense. Yep, that makes sense. Christopher, gonna sell your code to Rusik. You can have API routes. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. And then your API route would it literally just look like this? I guess it doesn't even need to be a TXT file. You just export async function action yada, yada, yada. It literally is just an empty file with just the action that you want to do or the loader you want to execute. Like I know all these questions are kind of like they're dumb, simplistic questions, but like I'm like in my brain, I'm kind of forming right this idea of like this is the approach one takes to accomplish all these different things that you would normally do a different way in some other stack. Christophe, I think you misspelled Russia. Pablo sent on Discord. Okay, thank you, Pablo. I'll peek into the Discord really quick. Handling different request methods. Oh, Pablo's got all the good doc links. I love this. Export function loader. Route.load. I handle Git. Git requests are handled by the loader. That makes sense. Post, put, patch, and delete are handled by the action. So yeah, so then the action you could switch off the methods if that's what you wanted to do. Yeah, basically just don't export default. Yeah, okay. Yep. My Google skills are top notch. Dude, Google Foo is an important skill. It really is. If I kind of push my boys. I have two. If you're new here and you don't know, I'm a 32-year-old dad of two. I have two kids. I'm a third grader, or I guess a fourth grader and a second grader now. And I'm always telling them to like look things up, to search things up. Like they'll ask me questions, and I'm like, why don't you go? And obviously, yes, the internet's a scary, dangerous place. You can't let your kids just run amok on the internet. But I think having good Google skills or good Chat GPT skills is definitely an asset in life. It's definitely an asset if you're going to develop, right? If you're going to try to develop stuff, you definitely have to be able to. You have to have a question, and have to know how to find the answer. That's just such a common activity. Pablo, you can't return data from the action. You're saying you can't return data from the action. Dude, I was asking how apps were made when I was a kid and no one knew. I had no choice. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, curiosity, right? It's the invention of necessity. All right, so I think what I was saying is since we have kind of the basic CRUD operations at the moment, I think the next thing is you should be able obviously to delete a book and you should be able to edit a book. Can't return data without wrapping it in resource or response when using resource routes. Okay, that makes sense. So you'd have to do like response something. I think that makes sense. I mean, so far I've really liked the React router. Can't just return an object without writing. Like, yep. Which I think makes total sense. And so far I like React router. So far, like I think their approach. It's definitely. I've looked at a lot of Remix apps, and so I see a lot of like the code that I've seen in Remix apps. I see here, right, which makes sense. Response.json. New response. Very cool. Very cool. All right, so let's just stick. I'm just going to stick with the most simplistic approach to accomplishing this stuff. So I'm going to have, like, I know there's probably clever ways to go about doing this. So for my delete, I'm just going to do what I said. I'm just going to have a separate delete .ts file. I'm going to add a route. I think I can nest all these, right? Like I can, since all these have books appended. I'm pretty sure there's a way I can nest these. Let's see, that's the declarative mode. I want the framework mode. Yeah, this is what I want. I don't think I want prefix, do I? Maybe I do. Routes can be nested inside parent routes. No, I don't want this. I think I do want prefix, don't I? Yeah, I think I want this. Because then I can do dot prefix. And I can say books. I can put these all in here, right? And then I can say, I guess this can be index, right? Can become index. And this becomes, and then everything else stays the same. Yeah, that's what I want. You want prefix. Okay, thank you, Pablo. I appreciate having you in the chat to give me a little bit of reassurance when I try to make an inference. All right, so then I was going to say, okay, routes, this is going to be books, ID, delete, and then that route module is just going to be books, delete.ts. And then delete.ts is going to export an action. And so then in here, this is where I do basically my database access in here. So I need Have I overcomplicated my imports? I think I might have overcomplicated my import. Like, can this just be that? Yeah, it can just be that. I was going like one level too many. Add, book, delete, and then index. Same thing. All right, so now we need to import our database access. So we say book. And then in here, we're going to say await book dot destroy. I don't honestly know how to delete with this ORM. So we're gonna have to look that up. Yep. Types, name of the file. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was like I was making it way too complicated to access the type import. Simple delete query. Delete everyone named Jane. To destroy everything, the truncate sequence. We say destroy, then we pass in our query, and we're off to the race. Destroy. Where ID. And I want to, so from here, I want to redirect to the, I want to redirect to the index. I guess that's where I just say books, that. And then here on the book page, let's just add a button. Should it be a button or should it be a form? I guess if we're sticking with this whole idea of like trying to use the existing browser APIs, this probably should be a form, huh? Pablo, what DB is this? Sequelize. Pablo, you want a form? Okay, nice, yeah. I want a form. Then I want method. Delete. I want action. Books. Book.id. Delete. Oh, I guess this should actually be. Oh, I bet I have to leave that in double quotes, don't I? Is that how I do it? That doesn't look right. How do I interpolate the action? Guess I could do it up here. Action path equals books slash dot book. That? Oh. Do I need to do that old number right there? Looky there. I think sometimes I remember how to do stuff in React. There we go. Can I do a self-closing? No, I can't. I gotta put a button in here. It. Alright, let's see if there is a delete button on our page now. Excuse me. There's not. Oh. I broke the cardinal rule of must provide a key. Okay, how come? Oh, that's because it's on the individual page, right? Books/1, no route matches URL. Oh no, I've broken something. What have I done? Oh. I've done that. Okay, there's my delete. So should I try it? Try it. I don't think it worked. What have I done wrong? Oh, yep, you're right. What I've done wrong is what Pablo said. Well, I did two things wrong. One is I want type submit here, and then the other thing was what Pablo said is like, hey, buddy, you added that delete form to the individual page, not the index view. Pablo, also please consider moving that action into books ID. Oh, good point. Yeah, that's a good point because I'm not doing anything else on that page. Okay. That makes sense. I'll do that for sure. For sure I'll do that. We're going to delete this guy. And we're going to go back to my routes. Remove this route. Okay, now let's see if I can delete a book. Boom. Okay, so no route matches URL. Oh, I need to change my action. I bet Pablo already caught that. uh, yeah, I agreed with you, Pablo. Just more. Yep, agreed. I would like to follow the established patterns. We need to go down here. Now this is just going to be look at there, we deleted it. It's gone. Look at this. I think you don't need action at all in the form now. Oh, so it just infers it? Very cool. I like it. Bye-bye, book. Look at us. Okay, we can delete books now. Zed, what IDE are you using? Just a beginner question. Sorry, Zed. I didn't see your message till now. So if you're still here, hello, and glad to have beginners. We were all once beginners, and I mean, you're always a beginner, right? Like, this is the first time I've ever used React Router 7, so I'm back in a beginner's mind, right? But it's NeoVim. What Pablo said, it's NeoVim, and the link that Pablo posted in the chat is my configurations. Pablo, form actions by default go to the current URL. Web stuff, no magic from RR now. Yeah, so I was actually curious about this, Pablo, and maybe you can tell me, but is there a reason why we have to use the special form component from React Router. Does that have something to do with like navigation or something? Because when I was originally implementing the add thing, I was just using a regular form here. And so I was just kind of curious what the reasoning was behind that. I'm gonna wrap this in a link. Make it a little easier to navigate to stuff. Pablo, capitalized form uses fetch instead of an actual form when it's working as a spot. Yeah, I see. Okay. I see. Pablo's got all the answers. We need to buy Pablo a coffee. Oh, there's a link I'm supposed to use here, isn't there? There's the navigation component. Both should work, but form non-capitalized performs a direct request from the browser. Form doesn't. Okay, very interesting. Navigation. Navigate. This component is used for navigation links that need to render active and pending states. So I don't need that at the moment. I just need link, I think. Yeah, I just need link. We'll say link. This needs a 2 value of gosh. Why is this unhappy? I'm not doing something right there? Oh. It would help if I knew how to close a tag. I'm telling you, give me a break. I haven't written any React or front end, much front end lately. Yeah, Pablo's on top of it. I appreciate you, man. That's very kind of you. You navigate automatically redirects when mounted. Yeah, link is what I want. Indie motor. Here is a scrambled. Are you saying that's the scrambled up text that you said is still readable? Pablo L. Copilot not helping today. Oh, you know what? That's funny. So this is that new computer I bought. I don't think I actually logged into Copilot. That probably that probably would help a lot. I can't remember the command. I think I need to log into it on this machine. Pilot Neovim. I have the plugin, but I think I have to like activate it or something. Yeah, Copilot setup. Pilot setup. New. I actually had to do I actually turned off Copilot last week because I had to do some live coding with other people, and so I didn't want my Copilot pause to be on full display. So I actually spent much of last week writing code without Copilot, and God, how you miss that AI tab completion. Pablo, oh, new computer, nice. Yeah, so that's actually what Saturday and Sunday when I streamed, it was basically me setting up a new computer. Was what I did. It's the specs are actually pretty baller. Let's see, fast fetch. Disable this. The specs are pretty baller. What, did I not have this installed? Fast fetch. And I could have sworn I installed that. Yeah. Why is it not? What's the command? I'm gonna try to show off my specs on my sick new computer. No, the only thing that's actually sick about it is the fact that it yeah, 64 gigabytes of RAM. It's the most RAM I've ever had in a PC before. Pablo, what was the issue with having Copilot? The issue with Copilot was it wasn't so much an issue with Copilot. It was that I had an event coming up. Or I had an event last week where I actually had to do some live coding with other people, and I don't know if anybody here has written a lot of code with Copilot. You know, there's this thing that happens when you write code with Copilot, and I refer to it as the Copilot pause, where you start writing some code like this, and then you just stop typing every so often because you're waiting for that completion to show up on screen. And you find yourself habitually doing it. And then when Copilot isn't available to you, you look really dumb because you're pausing all the time, waiting for a completion to appear that never appears. And so that's why I had turned it off last week, because I was trying to suppress that habit a little bit. Is it not in your path? It might not be. I don't know why it wouldn't be, but that may be why. Yeah, I could have sworn it was in my path when I installed it the other day. Let's try to add it to my this PC. Well, I think what I need to add to make this work. I know this is not all important for React Router, but, but it's Alright, so if we start a new terminal now, we should be able to do it. Fast fetch. Looky there you go. Yeah. Okay, so this was the new computer I got. I got this. What's crazy about this is I got this 50% off. I don't know if anybody else cares about this, but I got this 50% off. It has 64 gigabytes of RAM in it. It has last year's i7, so this is 14700, and then it has 2 terabytes of SSD. Now it doesn't have a dedicated graphics card; it has an integrated graphics card. But for $1,000, it was kind of difficult to pass up. It was like normally like a $2,200 computer. Yeah, it's the first time I've ever had 64 gigabytes of RAM on a computer before. It's funny though because I had 16 gigabytes of RAM. Then I wanted to get more, so I got 64. And now that I have 64, I want to get 128. I don't know if this like RAM greed ever ends. Although yeah, the graphics card is the bad part. Yeah, no dedicated graphics card. No AI for you. Yep, no AI for me. Life cost extra. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The dedicated graphics card just is not a super important part of my workflow. I mean, I have several laptops that have GPUs in them, so I guess I can always move to those if I need it. Pablo, you can use Act Plus. That's actually the first thing I said, Pablo, the first day on Saturday when I got on stream, I was like, now maybe we can stream and use Docker at the same time. Houdini, what is this extension called? The terminal? This is PowerShell, and the way I get it to look the way it does is a nice little library called ohmyposh. ohmyposh.dev. And if you're curious in like really tricking out your PowerShell, I'd highly recommend this video from, it's an hour-long video, so strap in. But it's by Scott Hanselman, a terminal. It's called How to Make the Ultimate Terminal Prompt on Windows 11. It's a little old, but it'll kind of get you up and running. PowerShell should be a thing. Yes, it should be. You're right. So let's go to Nightbot, and we'll add that as a command. PowerShell. I'm just gonna put in here. I use ohmyposh to customize my PowerShell prompt. And then I'm also gonna put in here. You can find my PowerShell profile. No, it's in my GIS. I probably need to update it. I haven't updated it in a while. So here's my PowerShell profile. And you can find my ohmyposh. There's like 3 links in it. Because I do customize the ohmyposh a little bit. Also, let's make this even shorter. PowerShell. There we go. PWSH. Line in here. All right, there we go. I should probably let me update this really quick. I don't think I've updated this in a while. At C. All right. Little distraction there. Little distraction never hurt nobody. Lath Davison. So you can still run a lot of good AI models. It's just run CPU, which means you really can't do anything else while running your model. Yeah, true that. Lath, how is batch command line scripting still a thing? I don't know. I think batch command line scripting is still a thing because it's there, right? So if you're a Linux server administrator or you're a Windows server administrator, right? It's like on every machine you stand up, right? Bash is there, PowerShell is there. So it just, if you want to, I agree with you. I agree. Like it would be a much better experience to write a script in Node or write a script in JavaScript and run it with Node, or write a script in, you know, pick your favorite, Python, for example, right? But then you have to take a dependency because you have to make sure you have Python installed on the machine, or you have to make sure you have Node installed on the machine. So I think that's why it's still a thing. It's native to the OS. It's there out of the box. I mean, some people are really good in it too. Like, have you guys watched any of You Suck at Programming content? He's like exceptionally good in Bash, and it's wonderful to listen to him talk about it. I think it's either I think it's You Suck at Programming. He has a ton of great Bash content. But it's pretty impressive what people can do with Bash and what people can do with PowerShell, or really any shell scripting, like, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean that's at least in my mind, that's what I think about, is like, I guess it's just because that's what's there, and so if you know it really well, it makes your life easier. But I would agree with you. I would try I would avoid doing much shell scripting myself if I could. Houdini, sorry, I am new here. Thanks for answering. Oh no, Houdini, don't apologize, man. Don't apologize at all. You're always welcome to ask questions. If I didn't want people to ask questions, I wouldn't stream. So, good to have you here, man. All right. We go back to, so where were we? We were deleting. That's where we were. I guess now we have to do the dreaded update. Let's see. And honestly, I should just turn this into a component. And sometimes I pass in a book object and sometimes I don't, right? I don't know, maybe Pablo can tell me. Pablo, can I wrap the React form in a component? Like, can I do something like this? Function, book form, takes an optional param of type book, and then can I do that? I mean, I honestly don't know if this makes sense to do that, but can I do that? Like, no, I've written a lot of batch scripts for Windows in my day. They had a tool called find and replace in batch, but the executable was f fart.exe. What a wonderful name for a tool. Somebody snuck one past the powers that be with that naming. Hey, what's up, Cookie Man? How are you doing? Did the YouTube algorithm bring you back by here? We meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again. Yeah. Yeah, I guess the YouTube algorithm wanted you to come on back. um I know somebody out there is hating this approach. Hello, Pablo. You're back. Is this is this an okay approach? Can I do this? So I can just reuse my form? I think you can do that, but if it's book equals what? Pablo, it has no more crap to show, so it comes back to the good stuff. That's funny. So book is just going to be, or book is just going to be undefined. What have I done? What have I done wrong to anger the... Although it's React after all, reuse components. Yeah, yeah. That's I'm like I don't know. I don't want to break any of the remix React router magic. Cookie Man, recycle, reuse. I mean, book equals something. Based on that, the form method decides. Yeah, I think that's what I'm doing right now. Is I'm just basically saying if there's a book there, do the update, and if there isn't a book, don't do the update. I'm actually going to serve this to at a different route. Pablo props book. Oh, okay. Pablo's got my back. So I should do props book. Oh no, this should be an object. Sorry. What can I? Okay. So what I want to do then is I want to do that. So the only reason I want to do this is so I don't have to update the... There we go. Now everybody's happy. All right, let's see if the add still works, right? That's probably the first sanity check. Let's okay, I'm gonna invent a new... Rest is fine. You don't even need the book equal. Yeah, that was my purpose, was to get rid of needing to actually declare the attribute by making it optional. Houdini book dash dash. Yeah, appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys helping me out. Cookie Man, chillax, bro. Don't type like Eminem used the OpenAI. Yeah, we use Copilot, right? I mean, who writes code anymore these days? Like, right? Like, who actually types? Let's how to use React Router v7. The author's name is going to be Pablo Aobre. Pablo should write a book on this. Okay, it works. And then let's have an edit functionality. I don't know. What do you guys think for component names? Pablo, also future stream v0 to make the applet great. Yeah, we probably should delegate that to an LLM, the design. So when you guys name components in React, do you use camel case, or what do they call this, kebab case? What's your guys' approach? Pablo book ID edit, right? Yep, I need to add that. I'm gonna have an edit.tsx in there. Cookie Man, I love coding and I love your stream. I'm inspired. Well, hey, Cookie Man, it's very kind of you, man. I'm glad you like coding because I like to code too, and it's very good to hear you like my stream. Although I don't ever expect anybody to. Houdini, are we using only React or we use Next? What Pablo said, Houdini. We're using React Router, and we're using version 7 of React Router. So back in the day, React Router was all just for a spa, right? That was my experience. I had only, oh my goodness, I'd only ever used it for spa stuff, right? Client side routing. But in React Router v7, they added like 3 different modes, and one of those modes is called framework mode, which basically makes it basically like a Next.js alternative, honestly, what it does. And it's pretty nice, I feel like, based on my experience thus far. Serious issues with, hey, can you shout out my little brother Nick Kerr? He loves your stream. Well, hello, Nick Kerr. I was very careful with my pronunciation there because I know what you were trying to get at. So, nice try. Serious issues. Nice try. Pablo, I have started using Kebab, but I honestly like Pascal. You know, the function inside the file is Pascal. So I kind of like your approach there, using Pascal with the naming convention. Houdini uses Kebab. Okay, so we've got some Kebab. I've seen people do it all different ways. I've seen Kebab. I think if you look at a lot of my past React code, it probably is all, honestly, now that I say that, I'm guessing I've used camel case, if I had to guess. Let's go and look at one of them. On it, I think this one in React. Oh, I did Pascal, like Pablo said, which I think I like. But we can stick with Kebab case for now. It's fine. I just was curious what everybody else thought. Serious issues with. You think that's funny, huh? I don't know, man. I don't think that type of joke's that funny. I think a lot of people might find that kind of joke kind of offensive, you know? Although I've seen multiple people on TikTok fall for that joke. that name specifically. Cookie Man, what app is this? Cookie Man, just type "what bro doing." Oh, Cookie Man, no, like this. Sorry, exclamation point, what bro doing? Oh, Pablo got it. What Pablo typed. It's basically a CRUD app, Cookie Man. Nothing crazy. It's just a CRUD app for trying to understand how you use React Router to build an app. Uh oh, the yawns are starting. Yawns are starting. Cookie Man, like, how is the code going to make a functional app? It's basically going to allow you to create a book, delete a book, update a book, read a book, see all the books. That's what it's going to do. I honestly don't know if I like calling it book view. Okay. And then this one is going to have an ID. Yep. Exactly what Copilot said. This is going to have a form. Oh no, we need a loader. So we need to export async function. Loader. Want the params. Route dot args. And we need the same, basically we need the same code from book. But here we don't need the ID, we just need the title and the author. I'm actually gonna change the signature. Title string. Oh, I do need the ID. I do need the. All right, let's see if this works now. So if we go to edit, nice. Let's also make this save. All right, and then our action needs to be different. Our action needs to be like update. Also, I don't really need to redirect. Pablo, I like my components and my routes living in different folders. Pablo, you don't really need the ID and the other one since it's a route param. Hold on. Are you saying in add? No. In book? Oh, yeah, you're saying I don't really need to return that here, right? Because I can get it from. Pablo, you do need to redirect back to the non-edit page, right? Yes, I should. You're right, I should. Well, I guess that's really like what kind of UX, right? So either do I save and stay on the page and just show some sort of loading, some sort of save indicator, or do I redirect? I think if I was sticking with this classic server side rendering experience, right, it would be a redirect. I also need to not create, I need to update. I don't honestly know how to update. Houdini, are you currently working in any tech company? Yeah, so you can see if you want to creep on my professional work history, there's my LinkedIn. I just dropped my LinkedIn in the chat. I currently work for a company that builds a governance, risk, and compliance platform. So it's like a business automation platform, but it's specifically marketed towards governance, risk, and compliance professionals or use cases. So like doing things like risk assessments or vendor management, audit and compliance, audit and assurance, or controls and compliance, that sort of thing. Hey man, I made Spotify already. You remade Spotify? That's wild. Okay. Does that form action you define will work? I'm about ready to find out. About ready to find out, Houdini. Pablo, if UX was your concern, then edit is not a different page, and you just have a book page where everything can be edited, right? Yeah, I think so. I think that's the better UX for sure. Pablo, redirects are fine. Yeah, everything's fine here. This is fine. Yeah, I think I agree, Pablo, and I think when you first got into the stream, I think you asked that question. I think yes, if I was to do this in the most optimal way and not the most dumb simplistic approach, I'd just have a books or a book.tsx, and that would do edit, delete. Yeah, yeah, agreed with you. It's already 10. I've been live for an hour and a half. I'm just so slow. Let's see, simple update queries. So change everyone without a last name to Doe. So this is my update, and this is my query to perform the update. Let me just copy this. This is going to be where ID this is gonna come from the route. So I'm guessing I can do params.id, right? This is gonna have a params field. This is just going to be title author. Does this hand back the updated book? What does this hand back? Oh, this, I don't need to. And then we'll just redirect back to this. All right, moment of truth. Let's see if I've. I mean, I'm basically a professional React router dev now. I mean, basically. I mean, all right, so we go to 4, edit. We'll change this to React Router 70. We'll change this to just Pablo. Look at it. Look, I mean, look at this. You're getting faster at this. Nice. Yeah, I think I see the pattern now. I'm kind of understanding the ergonomics. You know, it's 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 funny because Houdini said this earlier about being a beginner, but it's like you're kind of almost always a beginner when you move from one stack to the other or one language to the other, right? So like you can take somebody who's uber productive in minimal APIs, move them to Hano, right? The JavaScript kind of backend framework. Their productivity is going to take a hit. They're no less of a developer. They're no less of an engineer. It's just they don't understand how things are typically done, right, in that other place. So it's kind of interesting for me to go through these experiences of like, I mean, I know I can build apps, I know I can build web stuff, but then you stick me in this world and all of a sudden I'm 10x slower. Pablo, it's the speed at which you stop being a beginner that changes over time. That's a wonderful way of putting it, Pablo. That's a wonderful way. Pablo Pablo has a real way with words. He's many times dropped some excellent one-liners. Also, I apologize if my mic's been a little loud. It looks like my mic got turned up a little bit. Spiking. Jeannie, wow, super. I'm curious, what tech stack you use there, or are you having any DND protocol? Houdini, I don't know what you're talking about there. Sorry, I may have missed your. I may have missed what your chat was in reference to while I was climbing around my app. What's up, Bacon? How are you? How's life? Treating you well? What are we working on? We are working on trying to become more acquainted with React Router v7, specifically how to use React Router in framework mode, right? So sort of like think like use like what you might reach for Next.js to do, reach for React Router version 7 because it kind of provides all the same bells and whistles. What are you working on, Bacon? I was talking about your company tech stack. Oh, so our company tech stack, we are primarily a .NET shop. So we, let's see, so it basically it's classic like it's classic web stack from like 2012 or so when the company started, right? So we have .NET framework, site, we use jQuery. Right, like I could probably put if there was 10 of you in the chat right now that said you were JavaScript developers, I could probably put our front end code in front of you, and most of you wouldn't know what the heck it is, because it's very much JavaScript written in the jQuery era of the day, right? So it uses jQuery. It uses like a lot of immediately invoked functions to capture uh, to to capture state enclosure to protect against like global namespace pollution. Yeah, so I mean it's just it's not a bad tech stack. It's just it's dated compared to the times. But we use .NET. We use some .NET framework, some newer .NET versions. Um, we use a lot of jQuery. We use Vanilla CSS. Um, we use MongoDB as a data store. What else? Yeah, I mean we recently tried to introduce some Vue into our stack, but we had to do it we had to do it in a very unique way because we're just using Vue to render like single page apps within the context of a Razor view in ASP.NET. Um, it's pretty clever. It's a pretty cool like way to like start introducing some more modern front end framework stuff within the context of a very large monolithic, um, largely server side rendered application. But that's our tech stack. It's always hard for me to bring that up just because I know for most people that's not how most applications are built today. You know, so it's a I hate to say it's a legacy code base because it's a very performant, well architected, well built piece of software. It's just like I said, it reflects like when my company started, like I was like a year out of high school, right? So it's been around since 2012, 2011. Like when our company was being the initial versions of our software was being built, Bootstrap. I don't even think Bootstrap was released yet. So kind of have to remember the context in which software was created sometimes. Yeah, it was released August 19th, 2011. So like Bootstrap had like just been released or was not released when the first version of the software that I help uh, build and maintain and test. Um, Are you using Vue? So I write a lot of Vue myself in my personal projects. At work though, they use a tiny bit of Vue where I work. Hopefully more over time, but for the time being right now, we use a little bit. Pablo said, "I know my way around some jQuery." Well, respect, Pablo, respect. And jQuery is great too. Like, nothing wrong with jQuery. It's just not your modern declarative front end approach. Pablo, I was starting coding web stuff at that time. It was bad. Yeah, it was just different, right? It was just a different way of doing. I am a Vue dev in my company right now. Very cool. Awesome, man. Yeah, I love Vue. I mean, I've liked every front end framework I've tried. I, I should say I've liked it. Like I can see the value in it, right? Um, so I'm not a big framework language editor war guy, right? Like I'm just like, use the framework you like, use the language you like, do what works for you. Pablo says it was a bad, different way of doing components any day. Yeah, I will agree with you. I will 100% agree with you. I mean, I think reactivity for them, yes. I think that becomes very apparent, Pablo, whenever you build any sort of UI that is more complex than like clicking a button and increasing a counter, right? The minute you start having to store state in the DOM and manually update state in the DOM and hold on to references of DOM elements, the minute you find yourself in that place, you're like, fuck this. Give me React. Give me Vue. Give me something other than this. 100%. 100% agree. Okay, I think the last thing I need to add here, I act like this is a complete application. I think the last thing I'm going to add for tonight is I'm going to add a button so that I can edit the. So let's add a button here. Or no, this shouldn't be a button, should it? This should actually be a link. We'll say link. A link to it. Just do edit for now. We can find some pretty icons to. Oh. Go to books. Navigate to 3. We can edit 3 if we want. We could probably actually add an edit button here. Text view. But I mean, we basically have the workings of a book management process, right? We have a place to view all our books. We can edit them. We can add to them. Now we just need to figure out the UI a little bit. I mean, just a little bit. I mean, obviously, like this is like 99% of the way there for a good UI, right? um, and then maybe I had one idea that might be an interesting thing to do. I think Google Books has an API, but I think it might be interesting to use this. Like for example, we could have like some sort of button on here, like after you add a book. Oh, I should also add that. I should add an add book link. XView. So now we have a way to at least get to everything. This needs. We'll fix that though. Now I have a way to get there. So like, I can imagine you having the ability to add a book. So you could say something like, I don't know, made up book name. Let's made up author name. Then I could see like a button here on this view that's like sync with Google Books or like look up with Google Books. And you could pull in like the accurate title. You could search for it by title, and then if you find it, update the author and maybe some other information about the books. I've literally never used this API, but I thought this might be an interesting something a little bit cool to do with this project other than just a CRUD operations. I don't know. We'll see. Pablo, Angular nowadays is very good. I have never tried Angular, so maybe that's a cosign for giving Angular a go. Fly Fisha. Hello, Fly Fisha. How are you doing? Pablo, Goodreads closed their API. Oh, that's too bad. Pablo, ISBN scanner or title search would be great. Full cover art plus author, publication date, etc. Story. Yeah, okay. That's exactly what I was thinking. So I'm thinking I do title search, pull in the cover art, pull in the author, publication date, etc. Yeah, I think that'd be wonderful. Do that. And honestly, like a better UX experience would probably be to do that on the ad of the book, right? So like if you create a book and you give me the title, we will just automatically like pre-populate those values for you, and then if you want to change them, you can. That might be a better experience. Anyway, I mean, there's obviously like we could sit here and iterate on this, right, forever. But this was kind of the basic functionality I was going after. RC Nolan's, you're getting booted, man. Bye. Pablo, if I were to recommend a framework, Solid.js would be my recommendation. Feels fresh. So that's Solid.js is the video you posted in Discord the other day. The guy that's talking in that video is the creator of Solid.js, right, Pablo? Ryan Kearney. Pablo, ISBN is on every book, and you can plug that code into Google Books API, and it. Okay, so maybe I also have an option for ISBN. Give me title or give me ISBN, something like that. Ryan, yeah, Ryan. What was his name? Ryan Carnito. Carniado. This guy. Yeah, I thought this was actually something. If you're here and you are interested in front end development, Pablo shared a video. Yeah, this video. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's really loud. I thought this was really good. Like I walked away smarter after watching this video. He basically kind of walks you through like the basic implementations of how a lot of frameworks do rendering. And I thought it was very helpful. I think you should go read it. I'm assigning you homework. your homework if you are a front-end. Your homework if you like front development. Watch. Although he streams for like 5 hours at a time. Dude, that's crazy. I don't think I could do 5-hour stream. There'd be a lot more coffee involved, and there'd be a lot more getting up from my chair. That was the case. But yeah, so you're saying Solid.js uses signals, which I've heard of signals, but I've not used Solid.js. Have you used Hey Pablo, have you used Solid.js yet? Much? And I guess is Solid Start like a framework? Yeah, this is their framework offering. Vinsky, bundler and server runtime. Pablo, it's signal plus direct DOM manipulation. Tried it a bit. It's very good. Okay, yeah, we'll have to give this a go then. Pablo's like, here, Steven, why don't you stumble through React Router, and, and then now he's like, also, by the way, you also need to figure out Solid.js. No, I love that. We should explore all the things. What is Signal? It's another way to have reactivity. It's another way that you can basically say, hey, here's a piece of state, and then you can use, I think in Solid.js, isn't it called, it's like create effect or something like that? You can have like effects that run based on the state of a signal changing, right? So it's just another way to implement reactivity. Pretty cool. Although I couldn't tell you what about a signals implementation. Probably, yeah, effect you did build on top of. Yeah, I couldn't tell you the why signal offers more benefit though for reactivity. Pablo, they only execute when. There you go. I think Pablo just said it. So you're not like in the sense of like React Router, you're not blowing away the page and just, or not. I'm not saying React Router, but React, right? React just re-renders the whole thing, right? Or theoretically blows away the page and re-renders it all. Versus with Solid.js, they're doing smarter rendering. They are easier to wrap your head around their equivalent hooks. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, we'll add this to our list. Huh? We have a running list of things to look at on stream. Or hold on, before we do that, let's give ourselves some credit here for code written. Implement all CRUD operations for all right, then we'll go. Now we'll add it to the list. MVMN in Vim, OneDrive, desktop, things, look at on stream. I guess we should probably look at both, right? We should probably look at Solid.js, but we should probably also look at Solid Start. Try solid, S, solid. This list just keeps growing. Pablo, a signal is use state, an effect is equivalent to use effect, and computed is equivalent to memo use callback, but they don't need dependency. Pablo, and components are just effects plus DOM templates. Solid doesn't have a virtual DOM, it just knows that when the signal changes, it needs to rerun the component and modify the DOM, which is a reason to watch that video that Pablo shared with me, because Ryan steps through all those patients in that video. In terms of like how these different frameworks handle rendering. But I think hasn't Svelte moved to using something like signals too? Svelte 5. Maybe I'm making that all up. Like every other framework, we've come to the realization that Knockout was right all along. Svelte 5's reactivity is powered by Signal. So Svelte 5 is using the same underlying idea for its reactivity. I haven't tried Svelte 5 either. Although I would build a spa with solid and call it a day. Okay, fair enough. Let's do that. Actually, I think Svelte uses extra compiler magic. Maybe it's more than just a signal implementation. Fair enough. All those guys have thought way more and way harder about the proper way to do rendering of web pages than I will ever do in my lifetime. So I will happily take their word for it. Whatever they say. Pablo, Angular uses signals, Vue uses Solid uses signals. But everyone is obviously the the jury is in. Signals are the way to go. All right, guys. Well, I thought that was a productive stream. I think I'm gonna bounce though. Get to bed because I gotta work in the morning. I'm sure some of you guys have to work. But React just made React compiler, called it a day. They can't go back. They've got a lot, right? There's a lot of legacy they probably need to support, right? Probably have to be very careful about breaking changes. All right, guys, I'm gonna hop off here. Pablo, thank you very much for being my personal React router tutor. Very kind of you, man. Appreciate all the messages and all the time you spent. Houdini, thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate you having here for the first time. Everybody else, thank you guys for hanging out and keeping me company. I will be back tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Probably tomorrow evening, just like tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna try. That's gonna be my schedule, I think, through the summer. I'll probably stream in the evening. So I don't know. I know time zones are weird. So it's 8 p.m. Central Standard, my time. I'm in the Central Time Zone. So CST. And if the best place to get alerted is Discord, if you're not in our Discord, join our Discord. I try to post in there whenever I go live. That's probably the best place to be up on it. And then, of course, if you want to interact with me or anybody here from chat outside of stream, Discord's the best place to be. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a good rest of your whatever's left of your day. Whether it's Tuesday for you, Wednesday, I guess, already for some of you. I hope you have an even better next day. All right, guys. Bye. Good. Bye, y'all. See you guys.